Okay, cool. It's working. My camera did not jump upside down, and I just failed to turn on my cameras, but there I am. Hello. It's Brian. It's Friday, and yeah, we're gonna chat about some things, and I'm gonna do some boot.dev, so you can just sit here and watch, or you can follow along if you'd like. I am just here to take up space, but you are more than willing to join me if you want. There is boot.dev is very similar to Try Hack Me or Hack the Box, but it's for back-end development purposes. So I've mentioned it a few times on here, so I'll just put boot.dev in here. That's the site we'll be going to. We will be on Sunday night. As far as I can tell, Miss Berlin has accepted Sunday night discussion, so we'll have a stream on Sunday night. Probably talking about some stuff in the news. Actually, I found several decent articles on r/blueteamsec that quite good and thought-provoking. So if you are interested in those, come by and we'll chat about those. So happy Valentine's Day to people. You can't be my Valentine. I'm happily married. My wife eschews the obligatory card and flowers and stuff, and came home with a couple steaks and baked potatoes, which we'll be cooking. And so when she texts me that she's putting the baked potatoes in the air fryer to cook, I have to go and be Chef Escoffier and take the sous vide steaks out of the water bath and get them ready for the grill. So that will happen very soon, though. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so thank y'all for coming. What in the hell is going on? Yeah, the week has been, I don't say tumultuous to begin with, but it's getting better. Had a discussion with our finance guy, so the good thing is, we've got a level of peace of mind that things, even if layoffs were to occur, which, could happen in this day and age, there's no methodology or idea on how those things work. I am, not young anymore, and a lot of companies are looking for young people to do things and work their asses off for the same $40,000 or $50,000 or whatever, same salary, that somebody like myself who has been in the game long enough and realizes 45 hours a week is enough, that they want the person who'll spend 80 hours a week doing whatever. So if that happens, I'll just be streaming more often. So that's a blessing and a curse, I guess. So, anywho, let me go see which browser is going to pop up when I go here. Well, that's good. No browser showed up. All right, let me go back to just me. I will turn on studio mode. Where is studio mode? Yeah. Where's the studio mode, yeah? Yeah, what happened to my studio mode? It's really weird. Okay, well, we will futz around here and browser. I like my MacBook. The problem is it's not Windows, right? So some of the things that worked inherently in that don't necessarily work so well here. So there we go. So I'm learning turn off my E-Trade, work search. I actually got a couple of interesting hits from from a couple of folks today about a couple of positions. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of those. And so I'm on boot.dev. One of the things they try to teach you is the back-end developer career path, right? And so some of the courses, like I mentioned previously, is Python, which I'm learning Python right now. They actually have a Linux course, which I looked at. I gone through a couple of the went through a couple of the exercises here to game the system, because it's almost like Duolingo. So you work on it so many days in a row, you get awards and things like that. Well, sometimes Uncle Brian doesn't do a very good job of, there we go, keeping track of his number of days that he's worked on something. So it might be like 10 o'clock at night and I need to work on my streak. So, I've got 21-day streak here going on. So, see, 21 days consistently. Only 9% of students have earned this achievement, which is, I would say, probably pretty good. That means I'm in the upper 90 percentile of achievements. But if I need a quick, I need to get my streak done, which I kind of like I did on Duolingo, I would just run in here. I would do something simple, like something in Linux, that I'm fairly well versed in. I finished that today, and I have a quest in place. So if I earn 500 XP within the next 24 hours, I get some rewards. So usually jewels and like a baked salmon or something like that. So, all right, I'm learning Git only because apparently it's really complicated. I've tried using it whenever I was learning Go and Rust and stuff like that on VS Code. I didn't quite understand what was going on with VS Code, and I would corrupt my folders or whatever. So, I'm just futzing around inside of the system here to get what I need. So, also a lot of this stuff is free up to a certain point. So, if you want to follow along, you can go in and learn Git up to like section 3, I think, all the way to the internals. But so for like this, all of this up to a certain point is free. Once you get like chapter 4 of the programs, then you run into issues. So boot down, you may have ran code by clicking the run button, but as a real developer, I like the TM. You'll likely run your code using CLI instead. In Python, you should run a Python code like this, Python main py, what's the CLI? You'll often hear terms terminal, shell, command line, CLI, command prompt, used interchangeably, but often they all refer to the same thing, right? And so, ideally you read these. You're supposed to read, down through what happens when you ran the command. Which command? So, assignment. In your terminal, run the following command. So who am I? All right, so who am I in Linux? Let's see. Who am I? Tells me my name. My username was printed to the console. So, yay! And then I got 70 XP for that. And they tell you the complexity here, like lesson difficulty. I think the highest I've gotten up to on some of the Python stuff was 7. So this is a difficulty of 3. I can't imagine how much simpler it would need to be for it to be a level 1. One of the things they announced was if you're interested in learning JavaScript finally, they say our JavaScript course sucks. And as such, we've decided to make it more awesome. So they're going to make it twice the length of the old one and much more complete course covering language, runtime, event loop, etc. A JavaScript for Developers course similar to our Go for Developers course will be released imminently, very soon, not quite yet. So I found that interesting. One of the things I did ask them was, one of the reasons I was trying to learn all this programming language was like, I want to be able to run or create like an API. But the problem with APIs is that you don't really create an API. You throw a bunch of shit into import half a dozen packages, and then you're done, right? So I was like, it would be nice if there was a way to create an API without import a bunch of shit like Flask and then call it good. And I don't want to say chastise me, but they immediately said, let me see, where did I put that? They basically said if you go to, and actually the discussion is in, let me see, they mentioned, yes, no, not HTTP clients, it was HTTP servers. The instructions and everything is in here. So you're going to learn the backbone of the modern web applications. A backend developer need to know what you learn in and out. They actually mention in this one that you're going to build an API and you're going to be doing it with as few tools as possible. Now, I mentioned, send half a dozen freaking, bits in there like that. But yeah, I'm happily looking forward once, and this is in Go, so I think they have one in Python as well for HTTP and Python. I can build a Pokedex. So this is the other thing I like about it. They have guided projects where you're actually going to build something. Blog aggregators, static code analyzer, file servers, programming, and then they have later stuff as well, like algorithms, cryptography. Some of these are fairly long and lengthy, 127 lessons. That's nuts. So pub sub architecture. Huh. So what's this? Is a course, or is it a course on RabbitMQ? Well, both. Okay. So yeah, static site organizers or something like that. So, all right. So yeah, let's go back to Linux. Let's see. Okay. So yes, there we go. Installing Windows subsystem for Linux. You can skip this step if you're on Mac OS or Linux or already have WSL2 configured. I know the course is called Learning Linux, but if you're on a Mac, it's Unix enough, or Unix-like enough for all the lessons in this course. Yes, and I actually have iTerm 2 available for myself that I can pull up and run, code on my system. Thank you for being a great, not you, mainline environment. I love that. Okay, that's hilarious. WSL2 is a huge step forward for developers on Windows. You get full Linux operating system and command line without the need to dual boot. WSL was an official Microsoft product. It won't mess up your base Windows install. They used to have what was it? Back in Windows 2000, way back in the day, they used to have they had Microsoft Unix or something like that, but it was was it Microsoft Unix Utilities? Windows 2000. Yes, that's it right here. Windows Services for Unix 2.0. They used to have that. They used to have the ability to run Unix commands on a Windows 2000 operating system. And I actually had a copy of this disk at one time for Windows 2000, which, quite a ways off. Yeah, so it was $149 just to be able to run LS instead of dir on your system. Wasn't a VM, it was like POSIX compiled, or not POSIX compiled, but it was like ls.exe. So it was almost like WSL was, where it was just, or Cygwin or Ming GW32. It was a Linux-like environment that run on top of your Windows environment. I think everybody's used Cygwin at one time or another, right? But yeah, so requires a computer with 60 megs of available hard disk and 16 megs of RAM. Can you imagine that? Running on top of the configuration Windows NT or NT Server workstation. Oh yeah, NT, Windows NT was well, Windows 2000 was Windows NT with like a USB kernel. For whatever reason, they thought it would be a good idea for Windows NT to not have a USB stack. So between 95 and 98, when Windows 98 was like plug and pray, like you hoped when USB would work on it, Windows NT was like, yeah, we're just not going to have USB connectivity. Everything's going to run on PS2 ports, or you're going to connect to SCSI, or you're going to connect to parallel port, or what have you, because it's a server. You don't need USB on a server. And maybe, I could see that. And then 2000 came out again. They're like, oh, we messed up. Our bad. We won't do that again. I love how they say it requires an appropriate Ethernet, token ring, or FIDI network adapter. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe this stuff still exists on Microsoft's website. The announcements from 25 years ago on here. That's amazing. Dear God. Anyway, I digress. The assignment. So install WS2 and Ubuntu and getting the shell up and running. Make sure you're running Windows 10 or 11. Again, if you're running Windows 10, tick, 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 you've got about 6 months to either update or you're not going to use Office. I'm sure they're going to figure out ways to hamstring Windows 10 even further so that you will have to upgrade to Windows 11. To be fair, I would be worried after October. You're not going to get security updates, but I would be worried. I would actually be worried about like that October's run, because they could, at this point, they could do whatever they wanted and, brick your Windows 10 or make it so that it would be performant issue. I'm not saying, never mind. The conspiracy nut in me is like, oh, well, much like Apple did, where they obsoleted things by making the phone run slower or whatever. There's nothing stopping them from pushing updates that would make your Windows 10 work less effectively and make you want to upgrade. So once you're logged in, you should see a command prompt. Go ahead and type echo hello world. You should see the text hello world printed to the console. If you do, you're good to move on to the next step. Okay, I'm done with this step. That was free XP there. So see, I'm halfway through my XP requirements for the day, or for the next 24 hours. In Python, the UI looks a little different. So they give you, so I'm doing the bitwise stuff like ands. I just did some logic stuff earlier, some binary numbers and what have you. So you have you have a UI on the side here where you punch your code in, and you punch your code in, and then you return, and you can run your without having to submit and lose points or whatever. So. So let's see next. What's a terminal? Okay, so terminal or terminal emulator, right, is one specific part of a program. Terminal meant a device you could type commands into. When we say terminal, we mean terminal emulator. Oh, I never thought of that. So like your iTerm 2 on Mac, or like PuTTY back in the day, well, back in the day, PuTTY's still around, is a terminal emulator. So you're emulating one of these big, dumb looking terminal things. Is a program that emulates a physical terminal. It's a program that lets you type commands into a window on your computer. It is a program that accepts text-based commands and renders text on screen. Yay! That was a good answer. 126 XP. All right. Oh, that means okay. I got my. Oh, got my sharpshooter reward. Cool. All right, so I got 4 gems and a baked salmon. Excellent. All right, and I'm almost going to have another one here because I'll get my chest. And so, yeah, what you can do with your gems is you can go buy things like you can get more XP, an XP potion, or an armor, which if you accidentally submit a wrong answer, it will stop your spree from breaking. You can ask Fred for your help, which is, you know, which is kind of cool. Seer Stone, so you can see the solution without an XP penalty. Those are obviously very expensive. And then Frozen Flame keeps your streaks intact. So, all right, what is a shell? So if your terminal is just a program that lets you issue text-based commands and render the output of those commands, what is the program that runs those commands? That's a shell. Shells do a lot of things. Their main job is to interpret the commands you type and execute them. Shells are often referred to as REPLs, R-E-P-L, read, eval, print, and loop. Okay. You know, it's funny, I'm going through this, and I'll probably learn some things. It's very similar to when you know, you tell people, hey, how do I, you know, I don't use Linux. How do I want to learn use Linux? So you go to Under the Wire, and let me see, where is it? Over the Wire. Over the Wire. Under the Wire is the PowerShell version. Yeah, War Games. So if you start with Bandit, you learn a lot about like Linux command line and stuff like that. But these get progressively harder as you go along, right? So Leviathan, Natas is web-based stuff, server-side web security. Wow, they've added about 5 new levels. Okay, Leviathan. There's a crypto one. I think Krypton is an encryption one. Let me see. Yeah, so you're going to learn about, you know, base 64, and there's other things you're going to learn there. But yeah, so fun war games. So Over the Wire's a good one to start with. But yeah, like Bandit, I actually learned things about the Linux kernel or the Linux terminal that I didn't know before, and ways to get around those things. So that was interesting. Let's see. Oh, they fixed a few of these. Okay. Behemoth had been offline for the longest time. They've released some new ones here. Oh, it might be worth going through one day. Okay. It's a fancy way of saying shells are programs that read commands you type, evaluate those commands by running other programs on your computer, print the output of those commands, and give you a new prompt to another command and repeat. In your own shell, run the following command. Okay. So this is how they decide whether or not you've actually done the work. There's as I showed you in the Python stuff, they actually have run tests in another script or another Python script that runs that will evaluate whether or not your stuff is correct. So expr 1 2 3 4 5 6 times 7890. Oh, that's interesting. So that doesn't actually work in the terminal, expr. Okay, let me pull up. So I'm using iterm2 or iterm. Let me go grab the original terminal. Terminal. Okay. expr 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Okay, so ZSH sucks. Don't use ZSH on this. Let's see if I can go to bash. There we go. Okay, so yeah, one of the maybe I should that's a bug. I found a bug. There we go. Okay, so that's weird. expr it just repeated what I told it to do, so I don't think that's right. I don't think that's the right answer. So this is what it gave me on the output on the system. Here, let me share my terminal. Let me see. Go to terminal. So you can see the terminal I put there, it said no expression. So if I do bash and then I do expr, expr, same thing just comes up. So, oh, no, I don't want to do that. So yeah, so if I want to use a stone, I have to pay the price. So yeah, see, that's not right. Oh, well, that's okay. So that explains why. See, failure to read shit. There we go. So, okay, so I burned, I think I burned an armor there by having the wrong answer. So, so it's 131346. There we go. See, that worked. All right. Oh, and I got my chest. So there we go. Yay! I got a big salmon and 3 gems. Yay! You can't get another chest for another 24 hours. So if you're using Ubuntu on WSL, you're probably running a bash shell. If you're on Mac OS, you're probably running a ZSH shell. All right. So what if I exited out and went back to the ZSH shell and did this right? Okay, so it would have worked with the ZSH shell. Okay, so I was just failed to read, right? Failed to read. If you're running full Linux, I pray you already know what you're using. See, if you're using Linux, then you know what are you not using? The point is, you're probably using Bash or ZSH, and for the purposes of this section, they're basically the same. They're shells. They happen to be powerful programming languages. They have variables, functions, loops, and more. That said, only crazy people write large programs in shell languages. Oh, that's fighting words there. That's some fighting words. Shells are optimized for running other programs and writing small scripts, not writing large applications. So create a variable name. Always allow. Okay. So okay. Sure, that makes sense. Unlike in Python, where you can just use a variable's name in your shell, you need to prefix the variable name with this $sign to use it, right? For the rest of this course, you'll be a forensic developer hired by the fictional World Bank, BANC, to investigate a security breach. Hey, we're doing some security. Like most megacorps, they don't know what they're doing, but they're happy to overpay you to come in. You can say a third-party expert has reviewed their system. Oh God, that's hilarious because that is so very true. That is so very true. Turns out you're not an expert, but you're happy to learn on someone else's dime. So why not jump at the opportunity? Anyway, you'll be using your terminal and shell to traverse files, manipulate text, run programs, and investigate suspicious activity. Oh my God. That hurts too much. That I feel seen by that statement where they talked about that. Set the following 3 variables in your shell. Okay, so okay, there we go. Oh my God, okay. All right, founded 1969. And CEO equals Jeff Gates, the lesser known brother of Willem Gates. Write and execute a command that will print the following using echo and the dynamic variables you just set. So World Bank was founded in 1969 by Jeff Gates. Okay, so in this case it would be echo. Yeah, so echo bank name was founded by CEO. And that should work. So if I do this right, there you go. World Bank was founded in 1969 by Jeff Gates. So I think what they want is they want the query here. Paste the entire command that generated the correct output in the field and submit it. Ding! There we go. See, what I think is, and I haven't looked at Try Hack Me or Hack the Box recently, but I don't know if they have the option to come down here and ask questions of an AI that has been trained for the exercises that are here. Boots is the name of the AI that they use down here, and you can ask the question, or, if you get, if the AI is sus, and Boots actually suggests that the AI might be sus, it's well enough intentioned to realize that there may be some fuckery going on. You can also ask in their Discord, which you can join by going to their global Discord at boot.dev/community. And you join in Python, in the Python exercises at one point, you can get, one of the exercises is join the Discord if you want to. You don't have to, it's optional, but there's a lot of people going on in there. They actually have, I think, some jobs, a job board in there to get job help. So if you're, trying to become a programmer, that's, something you might want to look at. Close that. I need some like music. Let's see. Okay, let me turn down the audio just in case. Okay, have a little something in the background. And that's Chill Hop Radio. All right, have a little Chill Hop Radio going on. There we go. I would have played a little surfaces, but I was worried about the DMCA takedown that I would inevitably get. When you're working in a REPL, it's really helpful to be able to see the commands you've typed in the past. That way you can easily rerun them or copy paste them into a script. Print out the history of commands you've typed in your shell. You can use the history command, obviously. In your shell, set two variables. Department to engineering, team to ops. Use echo to print the following message. I work in engineering on ops, and then run the history command and paste its output into the text field. Okay, so it is, so we're gonna set two variables. All right, so department. Oh, wait, okay. Sometimes they like the white space, sometimes they don't, because I don't wanna, engineering, and then team ops. Oh, okay. Does that mean I'm about to be a Scoffier? Nope. Okay, cool. All right, so use echo to print the following message using department and team, right? Echo, I work in department on, oops, $. There we go. Team. There you go. And then run history. Run the history command and paste its output into the text field. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just put the last 3 because I have a feeling that's all they want. Yeah, okay, that's all they wanted. And technically anything probably formatted with a number up here would have been good enough. You can actually, I think, go all the way back further in the history, obviously, but yeah, all they wanted was a number, symbol, output kind of thing. So what's going on here? What's this? Ooh, I feel good. Ooh, hey, I hit level 20. Awesome. Hey, I'm better than 78% of the people who started working on here. So that's pretty awesome. All right. When you hit level 50, it's like an archmage. They call them archmages. There's a certain channel I think you get when you get there, and you can actually go into boot.dev and they have accomplishments, and they probably have something that says, oh yeah, yeah. So I have an output on here saying, hey, you just hit pupil. So you want to rerun a command, you could just type it out again, assuming you don't have the WPM of Primeagen. Words per minute, I'm thinking. Yeah, words per minute of the Primeagen. That's a pain. Just use the up and down arrow keys to quickly cycle through your command history. Right. The up arrow goes back in your history, the down arrow goes forward in history. Yes. Yep. That one was easy. Okay. Oh, and I just used the clear command earlier, so that's pretty good. Feeling cluttered with text, you can clear it with the clear command by type pressing Control L. It won't delete your history, it'll just clear the screen. I don't know who that is. Keep calling. So it clears a terminal screen. Okay, so that one's easy enough. Let me see, terminal alternatives. Editor, IDE, terminals. Yeah, I use VS Code. Zed, oh, I've never heard of Zed. Let's go see what Zed's all about. Oh, interesting. It kind of, oh, is this for Mac OS? Or at least they're showing a picture that looks like it's for Mac OS. Next generation code editor designed for high performance collaboration with humans and AI. Yeah, all the code editors now have some sort of AI plugin. If you use VS Code, it has Copilot plugins, Zed also, obviously, and then what was the other one they mentioned? Cursor? Never heard of that one either. Let's go look at that. They all have a similar design, right? Tabs up top, you got your tree on the right, on the left. I'm sure there's a way to switch them if you wanted to do that. Written from scratch in Rust to efficiently leverage multiple CPU cores and your GPU. Okay, I guess that's helpful to be able to GPU your code. Nope, that's not what I wanted. AI code editor, okay, yeah. Yep, they all kind of look like VS Code, or they all kind of look the same, right? And before that it was, you know, there other ones that are, what was it? It wasn't itch, it was, you know, you have Notepad++, you have, damn, is that one? Code editor, Sublime Text. Yeah, Sublime Text was another good one. Yeah, there's no shortage of them out there. CodePen, I haven't heard of that one. Notepad++ is one, yeah. I've been using VS Code for a while. Notepad, yeah, ++ Sublime Text. Yeah, you know, pick one. You know, there's no wrong answers. I think it just, well, depends on where you work. You know, some places you know, want you to use specific ones because they have plugins for those things. So Visual Studio Code, or you know, maybe you're using something else. So good old Notepad. Maybe you like Notepad. Maybe you like seeing Emacs. Maybe you hate Paint, and maybe you like Paint and you enjoy Emacs. Anyway, Ghost TTY. Okay, so Ghost TTY, Alacrity. I haven't heard of that one. I've heard of Ghost TTY. Haven't heard of Alacrity. Windows Terminal is quite good, actually. I actually have you can download the terminal preview, which is available online. I'm using Microsoft Edge on a Mac OS. So, you know, I wonder if you can get Microsoft Terminal for... I wonder if you can so they have terminal preview. I was using that one for a while on Windows 11. Yeah. I was gonna say, what if you can get Microsoft Terminal for Mac OS? Probably not. So that's just a bridge too far, I think, on that. But yeah, iTerm 2 is the one I'm using right now. iTerm is a pretty decent one. It's been around for a while too. Yeah. Yeah, 3.5.11. Probably need to update my version, but let me see. All right, which is not a Windows emulator, so it'd be that obviously in Ubuntu. There we go. What's a file system? And so you're probably rolling your eyes, and somebody's like, "Oh my God, I can't." Somebody actually congratulated me for making level 20. Oh my God. Or it's a decent, Discord bot. It could be that too. They break everything down. Like when I was going through the Python stuff, I mean, they broke down in a very similar way to how I actually saw a video from Neil deGrasse Tyson on how base 8, base 5, base 10 numbers work. So it's like you have, in a base 4 type of, world, if you counted by, 4s, your numbers are 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then it's like, well, what happens if you get to, you run out of numbers? So, 0, 1, 2, 3. Well, what happens if you want 4? What does 4 look like? 4 is 10. So it's like you add another digit. So you have a 1 and a 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20, 21, 22, 23, 30, 31, 32, 33. And then you go to 100, right? So I actually blanked for a second there. It's like, okay, you have to go to 100, and then you're going to run through that whole thing again, and then you're going to go to 1,000, and then you're going to, but he was talking about base 10, base 16, base 2, and then when I went through the Python section, we talked about binary numbers, and you saw that output there, and the video that they gave was almost, I don't want to say word for word, but it was almost exactly what Neil deGrasse Tyson on Star Talk was chatting with his co-host about, and I was like, oh, okay, so everybody explains it in a nice way like that. So run print working directory command. Okay. So pwd, right? Paste the full output of the command into the text field and submit it. So it should be, why is my terminal leaving me? All right. Oh, that's because I've got it hidden behind a browser window. I think what they want is they just want to make sure it's formatted correctly, right? So users Brian, okay. Yeah, that one was easy. This one's gonna be easy peasy. It's just getting me more levels on the screen there. So output of PWD is a file path. File path is a string that describes the location of a file or a directory on your computer. Yours should look something like this. Users wag line. Yeah, exactly. The text might be different, but the structure should be the same. Let's break it down. The first slash represents the root directory. It's the tippy top of the file system tree. The next part, users, is the name of a directory inside the root directory. Finally, the last part is the name of a directory inside the user's directory. So this path represents a directory 2 levels down from the root directory. Yeah. I'm gonna forego the minute-long discussion on the file paths. Time to start digging for evidence. If you're on Windows, again, make sure you are using the Ubuntu WSL terminal. Copy and paste and run the command below. Download the World Bank directory from GitHub. It contains files and directories that you'll need throughout this course. If prompted for a password, use the password for your machine's user account or the one you used when setting up Ubuntu and WSL. Okay, so all right. Okay, how do you fuck that up? Jesus Christ. Yeah. See, I like to be able to middle click on these things, but it doesn't seem to like that. When I use Linux, I can middle click in my mouse and that just works. And they have a nice little, yeah, I hate to think what's gonna happen when I do this. It's just gonna paste in everything up there, yeah. Well, we'll see. That won't work though. There we go. Yeah, maybe I was wrong. Usually you have to put ampersand to run things over and over and over like that, but you know, maybe I'm old. So all right, so World Bank, so CD World. Yeah, looks like everything's in here. Unzipped it, so it unzipped the World Bank, it deleted the World Bank zip, it moved World Bank main to World Bank, it choned the files to me and group World Bank, and then schmodded it with permissions of 755 for World Bank. Okay. That's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, everything isn't, well, it's not owned by staff, but let me double check. Yeah, you know, I don't necessarily want to do that right now. Autocomplete is your friend. All right. Run the list command to see the contents of your current working directory. You should see World Bank directory listed, which it would be. Run the change directory command to run into the World Bank directory, so I've done that. Use the ls command again to see the contents of World Directory, which I did. It's up here. Okay. If you're having issues due to curl or unzip not being installed on Ubuntu or WSL, that's how you have to do that. You can also use -y, I guess, to address that. Now, what am I supposed to output certain? Let me see. Ah, okay. So yeah, there we go. Cool. I'd be interested to understand the back-end code that they use to verify these things, because so far when I'm wrong, obviously. But you know, if you're off by a space or something, you know, how does it, you know, the checks on this stuff must be really solid. I'd love to talk to them about their process on how they process these things on the back end. Anyway. I am online, aren't I? Oh, damn it, where is it? Yeah, it says I'm live, okay. All right, cd command changes directory to move into the directory, but how you to move back out, cd ... right? Navigate out of the World Bank directory, so you're in the parent directory, you're at the top level. Run the ls command again, but just pass in the name of World Bank as an argument to list the contents from the parent directory. Paste the output into the outbox. Well, it's gonna be the same thing over again, right? It's gonna be the same thing again. So cd ... ls World Bank. Yeah, it's the same thing over again. It's the same command or same output. Yeah, okay, easy peasy. This stuff, yeah, see, still difficulty 3. So I'd really love to see what a difficulty 1 issue is. File systems, okay. When dealing with top level vehicles, relative path to Mustang text is CD, or cars, Fords, Mustang text, or whatever. However, when we're inside cars directory, the relative path is just Ford's, Mustang. Or when inside Fords, it's just Mustang. Absolute paths is a path that starts at the root of the system. So / vehicle / car / yes. Or Mustang.txt to refer to the same file. Which should I use? It depends. Relative paths are easier to read and write as long as you're in the correct directory. They're easier to reason. Absolute paths are explicit. They're useful when you're not sure what directory you're currently in. Right. Relative path. Yep. Oh, I've just completed 120 exercises. Awesome. And I just made platinum. All right. Yay. I'm doing better than 84%. 83.74% of people on this stuff. So, like I said, these are gimmies, right? And the thing is, I mean, it goes all the way down to 6. So, and each one of these has, well, 17. So yeah, that's quite a bit. Permissions has 9. Level 4. Changing your path configs, shebang, the Bourne shell configs. Compiled versus interpreted, input output, RTFM, top, Unix philosophy, kill, interrupt piping. Okay, might be some stuff worth learning again in here. Oh, package managers using NeoVim, package manager review, Webby, VS Code and WSL and VS Code. So the last stuff we're going to learn is obviously installing VS Code. Yeah, you've written in the browser. Some developers do their work inside a terminal and use a terminal editor like NeoVim, but a lot of developers use a hybrid GUI terminal experience into VS Code. So yeah, part of the back-end developer bit is the career path, right? So, you know, I don't know why they learned in this order, like learning to code in Python. But this is the order they had it in. So, you know, I'm learning Git, Python, then Linux. So Linux is number 2, which is kind of funny. But, you know, the idea is you'll use some kind of IDE when coding. And so that's interesting. Anyway, yeah, this is probably boring for people. So we're going to be on Sunday night. I would suggest I know some of you, Reddit is kind of polarizing. Everybody's like, oh, they all suck and whatever. There's actually some decent articles in Blue Team Sec, which I follow it. I follow information security, which it's a little more generic. So there's a bit more noise in there, but Blue Team Sec and I think Red Team Sec is another one that I'm a big fan of. When it comes up in my feed, they have different topics like, advice on training pipelines, building your own offensive security lab. Somebody actually posted this one in our Slack channel, which I thought was an excellent method by which of setting up your own offensive security lab. The only change I would make, they suggest these things. Those little shitty boxes. It has, has an AMD processor, 1.8 up to 4.3 GP, gigahertz, 32 gigs of RAM, can upgrade to 64, terabyte SSD, expandable to 2 terabytes, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, gig speed Ethernet, whatever, and a 1 terabyte SSD hard drive. Now, if you've followed our stream, my stream specifically here, not so much Mr. Berlin and Mr. Betcher, when we talk about these things, there are cheaper alternatives. I think I have more than once mentioned the Think Centers. Think Centers are little, I have two of them behind my system here, but they're about yay big. They're about, I would say 8 by 8 square by 2 inches, but so the key is, and I'll say this, and something I mentioned in the chat was there's about to be a glut of Windows 10 boxes out there on the used market, and there's about to be a huge glut of these things online because companies will want to upgrade to Windows 11. And in doing so, they will invalidate a lot of boxes that either because they don't want to have to spend the time buying TPM chips, their IT folks having to go in and manually putting these in. So a lot of these point of sale terminals that are running Windows 10 or running some kind of software to do checkouts may or may not work. And so this box, which is of comparable speed, cores, hard drive space, you got a NVMe SSD, has 4K, 3 monitor output, a display port, HDMI, has Wi-Fi 6, comes with a license of Windows 10 if you really wanted to run a VM of Windows 10, has a Bluetooth chip in it. This one has USB-A, but actually the one I have actually has USB-C in it. Let me see if that one, nope. I forget which one it was. Anyway, let me see. Yeah, see, I have 2 of these. One of them is more like this, where it has 2 USB-A ports on the front. But another one I have, which is the, I can't read it. It has 1 USB port, USB-C port on it. The point is, it's $229 for this. The one on the Build Your Own Lab box, which is, what was it called? It was called the B-Link, this thing here. $329. They do have a smaller version, 268, but it's not as, I don't think it's as powerful, right? 16 gigs. Comes with a smaller hard drive. So some of these are comparably cost, and they're tiny. They're like a Raspberry Pi kind of size, or a shuttle PC. No, not a shuttle PC. A NUC. They're very similar to a NUC. Problem is, you can't replace the stuff easily when they die. $339 if you want something with a bit beefier session. So $339. So if you're trying to do this on the cheap, a ThinkCenter will probably work for you. And you can get them for free, or not free, but you can get them at a refurbished cost. ThinkCenter. A lot of these are oh, here we go. Oh, not previously viewed. There's probably one I bought. I mean, if you want to go the other route, they have like these here that are beefy, right? 13th gen. Well, this is an i5. Ew, gross. Here's a 13th i7, 4.9 gigahertz, 32 gigs of DDR RAM. This would be, fairly beefy if you wanted to spend $900 on a square that, ideally you could buy 2 of the refurbished ThinkCenters, almost three of the refurbished ThinkCenters. Here's one, $123. There you go. And this would run, the idea is they're going to put Proxmox on it, I think. Let me see, we're gonna let's say I've discovered this lab will feature an Active Directory environment using Goad integrated with XDR SIM, so Waza. Okay, that's pretty cool. Why Ludus? I've always enjoyed experimenting in my own labs. Active Directory environments, setting up and maintaining the labs have been tedious and time consuming. When I discovered Ludus, I was eager to give it a try. So what does Ludus do? Because somebody had mentioned so you're going to set up Proxmox, which I've done on this stream a couple times on that ThinkCenter that I have running on it. Ludus, huh? Ludus is a what? Ludus CLI can authenticate requests of the admin user's API key. I don't know what Ludus is. Somebody had actually also posted in our Home Lab channel on our Slack for something called Semaphore, which I'd never heard of before either. But apparently it's a modern UI for Ansible, Terraform, I don't know what Tofu is, PowerShell, Python, and Docker. It manages the tasks, modern intuitive interface for DevOps teams. So apparently it's a management UI for all of these things. So kind of an interesting deal if you run Ansible or you run something like that. And here's some guy making a lot of emotes talking about how this is so damn useful. It is free. They have a free version. I didn't see what the difference between free and unfree was. My guess is that there's support, it costs, so you get some kind of support model. You probably get some specific profiles, or maybe it's a bit more performant. Let me see. Yeah, so here's the Semaphore site. There we go. Modern UI and powerful API for Ansible, Terraform, PowerShell, and other DevOps tools. Ideally, it's that single pane of glass that everybody loves. It's related resource configs and tasks. Each project allows you to organize and manage your automation efforts into one place, defining the scope of tasks, such as deploying applications, scripts, orchestrating cloud resources. I'm going to give it a try. I think it comes in a Docker instance, or you can download like a DMG for it as well. So let me see, where was Open Terraform and OpenTofu HTTP backend. If you require a specific feature, we will prioritize its implementation. Uses 2FA. Now I don't know if this free version has a 2FA implementation. That's something to look at as well. You can export logs. That's pretty cool. Feature requests. You can request a feature or get premium support. Flexible pricing. You can do annual billing, I guess, as well. So you can. Where was the download for this installation? Let's see. Yeah. So if you do the open source version, you can do a binary or package. So I guess it will run on Mac, Linux, or Windows independently, or you can just run a Docker. So. It says works out of the box, easy to use with containerized MySQL, PostgreSQL, or etc. So that's kind of cool. If you do the binary or package, it's self-contained, a single binary file, no dependencies. So everything is self-contained, so the libraries and everything have been compiled in. But just a thought there. If you need an orchestration tool, no, they're not sponsoring us. They really should. I really should start reaching out to these folks and going, look, I just mentioned you on our show. I can guarantee you ones of viewers are looking at our stuff. So yeah, cool. All right, well, I'm gonna go enjoy my weekend. Still decompressing. World is still shit. We're gonna talk about some of the remote server stuff. You're putting in the taters.
It'll take about 30-35 minutes.
You got them taters. Mm-hmm. Got them taters right there. That's why she fell in love with me, was my Sling Blade accent. You fell in love with me, my Sling Blade accent, right? Nope, that's not. She couldn't hear me. That's what it was. So yeah, world's still shit. Apparently, there's some news about Shodan finding some new footprints and some new open things out on the internet related to the United States government, which we'll talk a little bit about, and hints that some organizations are now classifying internal actors with certain titles like, slime mold, happy slime mold or whatever. No, I'm just kidding about the slime mold thing, but there are suggestions that this is what they're classifying as an insider threat to some of the servers that have been set up at various organizations with like OpenRDP connections and shit like that. But we'll talk about that this weekend with Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin, as well as other things. So have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Reach out to folks. Give them your love. Try to be nice. I have to remind myself that too, especially on social media. So have a great day. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay? Bye.